All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Left Side View. With you have Rahul, the European football expert, and with me I have my fellow correspondent Amitabh. So, Amitabh, we're going to talk about we're going to preview the weekend matches. So, let's begin.
Yeah, so let's start off with the Premier League. The first match that we have is the early kickoff. Actually, we have a match tonight at Brentford versus Watford. So, high-flying teams. Watford is in form. Brentford has been in form this season, so it should be a high-scoring match, at least an entertaining match, to say the least. Then we have City against Wolves tomorrow in the early kickoff, lunchtime kickoff. City got beat by Leipzig in the week, so they'll be trying to, come back with a great performance tomorrow, which is again not good news for Wolves. Wolves have been doing well, actually. Their performance, even when they were not doing well initially, their performances were good. So now those performances have translated into results. So should be a good match, but again, having a good match against City really doesn't matter. And if at the end of the day they beat you.
I think again, so the run of fixtures that Wolves are having, I think the fact that this week they're playing against Manchester City, last weekend they played against Liverpool, which was again a very difficult match for them in terms of the fact that they kept holding on, but then in the end, the desire of Liverpool just beat them. So yeah, now City Liverpool last week. Let's talk about the next one.
Yeah, okay. The next one is again our match against Leeds United. Um, Again, did not perform really well in midweek, so the team should be looking to bounce back. Against we lost the match against West Ham as well last week, so looking for that impetus in performance. Leeds always an entertaining side, always an attacking side. So I think it should be an entertaining match. Goal threats will loom large throughout the match. Um, let's see. Let's hope for the best. Rahul.
I think yeah. So Leeds are without. I think this has just happened. I think they are actually without their influential midfielder Calvin Phillips, who actually might require surgery. So let's hope that he gets better. But at the same time, the good news for us that he's not going to be able to play against Chelsea. Predictions?
Uh, I think we win 3-1. 3-1.
Let's hope so. I predict 2-1. Let's see.
Okay. Then we have Liverpool against Aston Villa. Oh, Gerrard going back to Anfield. That match should hold a lot of media frenzy and all that. Villa won last time against Everton, 2-1, I guess. Yeah. So
yes, they won their last game. Yes.
Yeah. So it should be a nice match. Liverpool again, they rested a whole lot of the first team players. So they must be, rested and ready to go for this match.
So I have a feeling, that the way it's going to be played out is Gerrard going back to Liverpool. I think Aston Villa will probably hold on and have a good performance till I think 60th minute, 62nd minute, and then finally, Liverpool's desire again will come into the picture and they'll score probably one or two late goals. But in the end, I do see Liverpool winning, but at the same time, Gerrard's team performing well.
Yeah. And the third match at that time is Arsenal versus Southampton. Yeah, Mikel Arteta team doing well of late. They lost to United, but okay, so should be a good entertaining match. Again, Arsenal have to be the favorites being at home.
But let's hope that Southampton's Armando Broja, Chelsea player, he scores against Arsenal.
Yeah, always. And then the late kickoff, we have Norwich against Manchester United. Norwich at the bottom of the league, United having their own set of troubles. The first away match for the professor. Let's see what tactics he deploys, but it is difficult to, go with Norwich here. United should have enough to get past this team at least.
Especially when you take into consideration that United rested almost all their players in the match against Young Boys in the Champions League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so again, they must be fit and raring to go. So again, the Sunday's match, Tottenham's match against Brighton has been postponed due to the COVID fears. Our hearts go out to everyone concerned. So that match is not happening this weekend. Then we have Burnley against West Ham. West Ham buoyant of their win last week. Burnley, we all know how Burnley play. It should be a good match. One team trying to be all solid and the other team trying to attack. So, but again, you have to go for West Ham here. I mean, not outstandingly favorites, but I think they should have enough in their tank to pick Burnley, even away.
Yes, but at the same time, if you take a look at West Ham's record, other than the match against Chelsea, I think they drew at home against Brighton. They also brought points against Wolves. So I probably think that they actually have a bigger chance of dropping points against Burnley than they had against Chelsea, because at least against Chelsea, everyone was pumped up. So here, I'm not saying that they're not the favorites. They are the favorites, but at the same time, I won't be surprised if it was not a West Ham victory.
Yeah. I understand that. That is what I said. They should be able to pip a Burnley, but Burnley away is always a difficult fixture for anyone. So let's see. It should be a good match. Then we have the Forces against the Magpies. Eddie Howe's tenure has not gotten off to the best of starts. I think they are building a lot of hopes on the January transfer window and what kind of business they do from there. Forces again lost against Napoli yesterday, so not really sure what might happen, but yeah, let's wait and watch. Anything that you'd like to
add? Again, I'm not really convinced. I never was convinced with the signing of Eddie Howe as a manager of Newcastle, because they needed someone who could sort out their defense. And when you take a look at Eddie Howe's record at Bournemouth, it was abysmal, horrendous. They conceded like 67 goals, or the 2 or 3 seasons they were in the Premier League under Eddie Howe. They had one of the worst defenses. They needed someone who could sort out the defense. I'm not saying that sacking Steve Bruce was not the right decision, but replacing him with Eddie Howe was, in my opinion, definitely not the right one.
Sorry, Eddie Howe was not the first choice, I guess. They wanted to go for a plethora of coaches who categorically, including Lampard, I guess. And then
even Lampard would not have been a good option, in my opinion. They need someone who is good defensively. With Lampard as well, that was the same criticism at Lampard, at Chelsea, that we were conceding so many goals.
I guess only apart from us, when we were lucky enough to have Roman's fortunes, somehow we managed to handpick the right coach and the right players, and we just started winning titles right from the first season. I mean, there was one season with Ranieri, but yeah.
Obviously, Mourinho was at his peak then.
Yeah, he was at. So, but when you compare it with other clubs who have had this privilege of getting a lot of cash injection, they have always fumbled through a couple of bad decisions in order to get to the right one, like City wasted a lot of money initially, Robinho and all that.
I mean, they paid so much money for so many players that were not good enough. So many wages, so many high wages to players. I mean, I read a rumor that Newcastle wanted to make Jesse Lingard their highest paid player.
Yeah, and this is what will happen. This is what will happen when someone with such bucket loads of money comes. Then there will always be people.
Because they also understand that they have the leverage, right? That they can actually exploit the club.
Yes. This game and the emotions, I think, is largely restricted to the fans. the people who are actually there, money becomes a huge part of their decision-making process, and that is just the way things are.
Yes.
Okay, the next match is Palace against Everton. Palace started off well this season, but they have had a few fumbles of late. And Everton, Rafa, at least before the last match, he was on the brink, and somehow he won against Arsenal. So, how do you see this match turning out, Rahul?
So that's the thing. I think the fact that before the match against Arsenal, they were on losing streak, and then they finally managed to win against Arsenal. Uh, I think one thing that they're actually missing is direction, which is why I think their director of football, Marcel Brands, also left the club. When you take a look at, they've spent 35 million pounds on Alex Iwobi. I read somewhere that that in itself is a sackable offense. When you spend 35 million pounds on Alex Iwobi, you should actually just leave then and there. And then they're signing someone like James Rodriguez. They're also signing that guy that was playing for Crystal Palace, I think, or former Tottenham player. I don't remember his name right now. Uh, Again, a free signing, I think. Even I think Rondon is someone they signed.
Townsend,
Yes, under
Andros
Townsend.
Townsend.
Again, I mean, that's not the kind of a player that you should be signing. When you
Again, a classic example of how you waste money when you fumble into a lot of cash. Again, there is no direction at Tottenham. Even at that point of time when they paid 50 million for Richarlison, he was doing well at Watford. But I don't know, the transfer money and the logic behind it, I think all of that went out of the window once the Neymar deal happened. And you just don't know who is value at what, because even if you say, again, I don't want to, nitpick transfer deals, but 80 million for Maguire, what sense did it make at that point of time? So, yeah,
so yeah,
that's about it.
Let's see. I think Crystal Palace versus Everton, it could go anyway. It depends on what kind of a team turns up, and how motivated they are on that day. But again, a special shout out to our Chelsea academy player Conor Gallagher, doing wonders for Crystal Palace. Let's hope that continues.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. The German Bundesliga, we have Munich against Mainz, Leipzig against Mönchengladbach, and Bochum against Dortmund as the key matches for this weekend. Thoughts?
I think they are both winnable matches for Bayern and Dortmund, especially now that Haaland is back for Dortmund. I think all their matches are going to be winnable for them, except for when they play against maybe a Leipzig or Bayern Munich. Other than that, they will always be the favorites. Bayern, 6 matches played, 6-1 in the Champions League. So obviously they are the favorites. There's no doubt about that. I think they won 8 or 9 in a row. You just cannot bet against Bayern. Not that we're promoting betting, guys, but yeah.
No, we certainly are not. That is for
yes,
our politicians.
We can definitely talk about the third match. That's Leipzig versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. So there are some interesting stories, layers, going around this one. Mönchengladbach lost 6-0 to Freiburg, who are actually fourth in the table, and ever since Marco Rosa left, I think they've had some good games themselves. They actually managed to beat Bayern Munich 5-0 in DFB Pokal, and then they were 6-0 down in the first half against Borussia Mönchengladbach, against Freiburg last week. So now Leipzig, who were again not playing well, Jesse Marsch has been sacked, and they probably wanted to go for Sporting Lisbon's manager Ruben Amorim, but he rebuffed their advances. So they've actually not gone with their first choice player. They've actually gone with a formerly highly rated manager, Dominic Tedesco, who used to manage Schalke, but then we all know what happened with Schalke. They're in Bundesliga too. Not think that it was his fault, but then I remember 3 or 4 years ago, Dominic Tedesco and Nagelsmann, they were actually both very highly rated. But look where Nagelsmann is, and Tedesco was out of a job, I think, ever since he left his job at Schalke. So he actually has a lot to prove, because that's the thing, with these young managers, the fact that they're young, they don't really have a lot of experience. I know I contradict myself by saying that, but the fact that there were some great games under Dominic Tedesco at Schalke, but then there were also games when I remember Schalke lost, I think 7-0 or 10-2 on aggregate against Manchester City. So I'm not saying, it's just too hard to predict the way Leipzig are going to line up or play under Tedesco. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Let's see.
Let's wait and watch what happens. Moving on, League A. There's just one match that we would like to cover here. That is PSG against Monaco. That is the Sunday night late kickoff. PSG should be good enough to hold off Monaco, actually come out with a win. They played well in midweek against Bruges, 4-1. Messi scored twice, Mbappe scored twice. So on paper, it looks like a winnable fixture for PSG, but let's see what happens. Any thoughts here, Rahul?
Well, yes, I think they're already 8 or 9 points ahead of the second place team in the league.
Yeah, 8 points ahead with.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think you never know. Maybe I think obviously their main focus will always be on the Champions League, especially when you take into consideration that they're already 8 or 9 points ahead of the second place team. So they can still maybe not be at their 100%, but that's again up to the manager and the players. But yeah, if you talk about who the favorites are, then it's obviously PSG. And let's see.
Okay. Moving on to Serie A. On Saturday, we have Juventus away at Venezia and Milan away at Udinese. Both, again, for Milan, I think it should be winnable, but given the performance in midweek, I don't know how much confidence they have in themselves right now. Juventus against Venezia. Venezia is in the lower half of the league, if I'm not wrong. So again, on paper, it looks winnable, but both the matches are away, and you know what happens when you go away to small teams, with all their hype and all that stuff. So
I just remembered
entertainment.
Yeah, so I just remember two things I think about these two clubs. I think Venezia, they managed to beat Jose Mourinho's Roma 3-2, and on top of that, I think Chelsea's player Ethan Ampadu is playing on loan at Venezia. And on top of that, when you take into consideration Juventus' away form this season, I think it's been really poor. So now that I look at this match, I can see a draw. I can see Juventus dropping points. The next game that we talked about, AC Milan versus Udinese, I think AC Milan again a wounded animal right now. They would like to really get back on track. So if that's how they turn up, then you could see it going 3-0, 4-0. But from what I remember, I think Udinese also sacked their manager. I think Luca Gotti, the guy who used to manage, who used to be assistant to Sarri at Chelsea. I'm not really sure if they have confirmed who the new manager is, but if it's a new manager, you could see a new manager bounce. So that's why, again, a really hard to predict game.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of surprises have to be in store for us. Yes. On Sunday, Atalanta is away at Hellas Verona, Napoli at home to Empoli, Sassuolo at home to Lazio, and Inter at home to Cagliari. Yeah.
I think Inter Milan versus Cagliari, I think, should be a straightforward win for Inter Milan, especially after they lost against Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think Lazio versus Sassuolo is, I think, pick of the matches, in my opinion. Sassuolo have done really well in some of the big matches this season. They even managed to beat AC Milan. They managed to beat Lazio. Juventus as well. They beat Juventus away as well. So yes, Sassuolo versus Lazio could turn out to be a hidden gem. We already talked about Inter Milan. Who are Roma playing?
Roma is playing Spezia on Monday.
Away game or a home game?
Home game.
So yes, I think they should be able to win that one. At least we hope so. On paper, they are a much better side. But again, the fact that injuries are piling up, and when you take into consideration Mourinho's refusal to rotate, his reasons being that the bench is not good enough, strong enough. So let's see. I think in another couple of weeks, Serie A goes on a winter break, and then Mourinho will be able to sign players in January. So it depends on how much money he has and how much signings he makes, and what the signings turn out to be. Interesting period for Serie A fans. I think Is there any team left that we've not covered?
Yeah, I guess we can move on. Going back, coming to the Spanish league, there's just two matches of note. The first is Barcelona away at Osasuna on Sunday, and then perhaps the match of the weekend, the Madrid derby, late night kickoff Sunday.
Well, Barcelona versus Osasuna again. On paper, you would say Barcelona are going to beat Osasuna, but the current state they're in, I think
not these days. Not these days.
Yes. If Osasuna smell blood, then you never know. If they turn up and they go for it, you could actually see these days you can see Barcelona dropping points against anybody.
Anybody and everybody, yeah. So again, a tough fixture for Xavi, and for the sake of Barcelona, we hope that there is some sort of reaction by the team.
Do we?
But again, coming back to the Madrid derby, I think the Spanish league is notorious for a lot of professional tactics that they employ. Rolling on the ground, feigning fouls and injuries, and so this has been my experience for the past decade at least when I've tried to watch the big matches. The actual football time is hardly 50 minutes, and there's a lot of shenanigans that goes on. So I don't expect anything else in this match as well. Atletico Madrid will do what Atletico Madrid does. They'll try to be as defensive as possible and try to eat away time, and then maybe they'll try to score a winner after the 70th minute. Madrid, Vinicius Junior is playing well. Benzema, as always, playing well. So
I think Benzema is injured. Benzema got injured in their last match last weekend. He got injured in the 17th minute. Luka Jovic came on. I think he missed the game against Inter Milan.
He got injured in the So is he unavailable for this weekend?
So I read somewhere that he might be back, but again, I'm not too sure.
Okay.
But even without Benzema, the fact that Madrid are playing at home and with the form that Atletico has been in.
Yeah, but obviously Benzema factor will play into the Atletico's hand to a large extent. But of course, see, at the end of the day, it is all about the mindset. If you want to go forward and try to score goals, then it is only then that you will have any chance of scoring goals. With the way Atletico turn out and the kind of formation they have, the kind of mentality they have, they only look to score a goal after half time. I mean, half of the second half, again the 70-minute mark. So yeah, I think it will be one of those games, not pretty to look at, but extremely important in terms of the La Liga Champions race.
But yes,
let's see.
If Atletico have any hopes of retaining their crown, then they need to win this game. Doesn't matter Benzema is playing or not. They simply need to win. Otherwise, you could probably see Real Madrid run away with the league title come January or December, which obviously they don't want. I mean, obviously we can already discount Barcelona, but yes, it is between these two at this point in time.
And the ironical thing is, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it. Madrid is 8 points clear with one game they played more. But even then, even you are sure, and I am sure how Atletico Madrid is going to tell. This is a must-win for Atletico.
Yes.
But I don't see Simeone changing his tactics, unfortunately, because we would love to see an entertaining Madrid derby. Let's see what happens. Okay.
Predictions?
2-0 Real Madrid.
I agree. Same.
Okay.
All right, guys. So, anything else that you would like to add, Amitabh? Any other match? Anything else?
That's it. We have a round of midweek fixtures next week, but that's it for this weekend.
All right, guys. In that case, this brings us to the end of the podcast. And ciao.